Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to send all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Barakatham. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of Israel. This is your brother, Izar, coming at you with another lesson from the GMS Miami Camp. And today I want to talk about, today's title is going to be Meaning Shall Come in My Name. Meaning should come in my name. And who is that name I'm talking about? I'm talking about Yahweh Shai. You have a lot of false prophets out there teaching fake doctrine or false doctrine and adding their own little twist to it. Okay, let me start at the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves. Okay? When you go to that word ravening, it means to devour greedily, extortion, robber. Okay? So most of these prophets, all these false prophets are not coming to you to help benefit your soul. They coming to either take control of you as a person, or they're trying to get your money. They want something from you. They want to take something from you, whether it be your money, your time, or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? These false prophets have nothing to do with Yahweh Shai. Okay, all right. I'm just going to briefly go through some scriptures, and then I'm going to show you a video of a false prophet. This guy had control of a lot of people, man. I think this took place back in '93, and the name of the guy is David Koresh. But let me go through some scriptures right quick, and we're going to get to the video, okay? Another scripture I want to bring out is I think it was Second Peter. Let me see. I think it was Second Peter. I didn't write that. I didn't write it down. I got Second Peter. Dang, I forgot which. Let me see. Okay, Second Peter, that's the spirit. Second Peter 2, chapter 2 and verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bringing upon themselves swift destruction. Okay? So you're going to have a lot of false teachers out there changing up the doctrine, okay? Manipulating the correct doctrine. They're going to manipulate it so it can benefit that false prophet or that false teacher, okay? And it says, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies. When you go to that word privily, it means secretly. Shall bring in damnable. Damnable means destruction. Heresies is what I just wrote it down. Okay, let's go into the let's go into the blue letter and look up heresies. Okay, here it is right here. That's the spirit.
Strong's G 139. Hyresis.
All right. The act of taking, capture, storming city. Okay. So it says, privily shall bring in damnable heresies. Okay. Meaning they're going to take something away from you, meaning whether it be your time or your money or your resources. Okay. Even denying the Lord that brought them. Okay, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. So if the false teachers bring themselves swift destruction, what you think is going to happen to their followers? they're going to be swiftly destroyed also. Okay? All right? So stay away from these false prophets, y'all, because these false prophets speak smooth things. Okay? It takes a real man to get into the truth. Okay? And what the scriptures say, the truth shall set you free. You know? Sometimes you in this truth, man, you might get I don't want to say necessarily cut, but rebuke. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, rebuke. Okay? You might get rebuked several times, but hey, man, iron sharpeneth iron. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's what the scriptures say. All right? But let me go to this video here about David Koresh. And, you know, he was, this happened like in the early 90s, I believe. I was a little boy when this happened. But yeah, man, let's get this thing rolling. All right. There we go.
In 1993, Americans watched breathlessly as FBI agents faced off with a self-proclaimed religious prophet and his armed followers in Central Texas. This was the Waco siege, a weeks-long standoff between the federal government and a religious group known as the Branch Davidians. Established by leader Victor Hautef, the Branch Davidians are a Christian sect, an offshoot of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, with a literal interpretation of the Bible's prophecies.
It said interpretation of Bible prophecies. So their interpretation, they weren't preaching the correct doctrine. Okay? All right? And this dude, David Koresh, he probably was an Edomite, I'm not sure, but, you know, he looked like an Edomite, but, you know, he changed the doctrine up. Okay? And then you had that founder, let me go back.
And a religious group known as the Branch Davidians. Established by leader Victor Hautef, the Branch...
So Victor Hautef, founder of the Seventh-day Evangelists, okay?
Davidians are a Christian sect, an offshoot of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, with a literal interpretation of the Bible's prophecies. Hautef and a group of his followers settled near Waco, Texas in 1935. Branch Davidians believe in the second coming of Jesus Christ and a day of judgment.
So that group was called Branch Davidians. Branch Davidians, okay? I'm gonna try not to talk no more. I'm just gonna let the video play. You know, Lord willing.
In which God will punish the wicked and reward the good.
Go back a little bit.
In his church, with a literal interpretation of the Bible's prophecies. Hautef and a group of his followers settled near Waco, Texas in 1935. Branch Davidians believe in the second coming of Jesus Christ and a day of judgment in which God will punish the wicked and reward the good. In preparation for Judgment Day, the Branch Davidians isolated themselves from the outside world in their commune near Waco. Confined to a 77-acre compound called the Mount Carmel Center, they established their own way of life. The group had gone through various divisions and changes in leadership before it was taken over by a charismatic Bible teacher named David Koresh in 1990. Koresh was a self-proclaimed prophet and believed that he was appointed by God to bring about the end of the world. Unlike his predecessors, Koresh practiced polygamy, taking a number of underage followers as wives who bore his children. He also collected guns and ammunition in preparation for the coming apocalypse. Word eventually reached federal authorities that the cult was illegally stockpiling weapons. February 28, 1993, agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms arrived at the Mount Carmel compound, armed with search warrants for the property and an arrest warrant for Koresh. Gunfire erupted, although it's unclear which side started it. At the end of the 2-hour standoff, 4 ATF agents and 6 Branch Davidians were dead. The FBI intervened. Nearly 900 members of law enforcement descended on the compound, including Texas Rangers, Army personnel, and National Guardsmen. For weeks, FBI negotiators bargained with Koresh, bringing in supplies and allowing him to sermonize on the radio in a bid to get him to surrender. Though he allowed a number of Davidians to leave, Koresh displayed no signs of turning himself in. Agents then tried hardball tactics. They turned off the electricity, blasted loud music, and flashed harsh spotlights into the compound's windows. That didn't work either. After a 51-day standoff, Attorney General Janet Reno gave the FBI the green light to raid Mount Carmel. On April 19th, 1993, tanks rolled in and punched holes in its walls and deposited nearly 400 canisters of tear gas inside the building. Several hours later, a fire broke out.
This far out of the country without fire hydrants, you have to haul.
Okay, I said I wasn't gonna say no more, but you see how those people follow that guy, and what was that in 2 Peter 2, and the last part of the verse, it says, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. Okay, so since they follow that guy, David Koresh, he had followers. You see what type of destruction came upon them? They got the fire, the ATF was coming against them, but yet they still were faithful in that guy. They were loyal to him, man. That dude David Koresh put an evil demon on them, on his followers, man, for real.
All of your water, it's just a very bad scenario here at this point.
Winds fanned the flames and reduced the entire property to ash within an hour. Around 80 Branch Davidians died, including David Koresh and 25 children.
There you have it. It says at the end of in 2 Peter chapter 2, at the end of the verse, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. Look at this. David Koresh went down and also took 80 people with him. I don't know how many children they said he took down with him, but their judgment, came down upon them.
While most died from fire and smoke inhalation, 2 members were found with fatal bullet wounds to the head. 4 federal agents were also killed during that siege. Several months later, a federal grand jury indicted 12 of the surviving Branch Davidians for unlawful possession of firearms and aiding the murder of federal officers. Many believe the government's actions were overly aggressive and maybe even illegal. The raid drew sharp public criticism, and controversy swirled over whether or not federal agents started the fire and shot the Branch Davidians. At the center of the storm was Janet Reno, who issued the final order to raid the compound. In 1999, she appointed independent counsel John Danforth to investigate the incident. Danforth concluded that the agents were not responsible and placed the blame squarely on Koresh and his followers for setting the blaze and shooting themselves in order to fulfill their apocalyptic prophecy.
In order to fulfill their apocalyptic prophecy. Okay, so they wasn't trying to follow. Well, David Koresh didn't, he was he was an Edomite. He looked like an Edomite, but their apocalyptic prophecy. Okay, they weren't following the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. As you can see, he was a false prophet, man.
The investigation failed to satisfy critics who, to this day, believe in conspiracy theories of a federal cover-up. For some right-wing extremist groups and patriot militias, Waco was further evidence of a government willing to use its power against its own people. One of these extremists was a 24-year-old disgruntled Army veteran named Timothy McVeigh.
This is another demon right here. I remember this demon right here. You can tell he'll Edomite, but he blew up the Oklahoma City building. I think it was a city hall, something like that. There was some building in Oklahoma City, Slovakia, that he blew up. But I'm just gonna let it play.
Realized by Waco, McVeigh would retaliate for what he saw as the injustices.
Yeah, his name was Timothy McVeigh.
Of the Waco siege by bombing a federal building in Oklahoma City, exactly 2 years to the day of the siege at Mount Carmel.
Yeah, man. So as you can see, man, these devils are busy, boy. These false prophets are busy, you know. So, hey, man, know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Okay.
Standoff.
Okay. Yeah, but Shalom, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Shalom, and all praises and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Wakakadash Barak Atham. Shalom.